He smiled after the judge said, "Death by hanging." The whole court froze. They say when a man is about to die, his whole life flashes before him. But this one, he smiled. Not a nervous smile. Not a smile of regret. A calm, confident smile. Like he had been waiting for that moment. Like he had planned it all. The judge's voice was still hanging in the air. "This court finds you guilty of the murder of Mr. Michael Edmond. You are hereby sentenced to death by hanging until you're pronounced dead by a medical officer." Silence. Then the smile. A wide, terrifying smile. People gasped. Someone at the back whispered, "Jesus." Even the judge paused, adjusted his glasses, and looked up. The court clerk dropped her pen. Journalists in the gallery stopped scribbling. The atmosphere was heavy. He didn't blink. He didn't cry. He just smiled. "My name is Clara. I was in court that day. I saw it all." But to understand why the whole court froze, you have to understand who that man was. His name was Daniel Cole. And this story is not just about murder. It's about betrayal, about love, about secrets that were too heavy for the living. Let me take you back to the beginning. Daniel Cole was a man people loved to envy. Handsome, tall, calm, well-spoken. He was married to Hannah, a beautiful primary school teacher. And together, they looked like the kind of couple that would make you believe in love again. They lived in a quiet estate in Willow Creek. Neighbors called them the model couple. Every morning, Daniel would walk his wife to her car, open the door for her, kiss her on the cheek, and wave her goodbye like some romance movie. He sold electronics in Mapletown Central Market. He had 2 shops. Business was good. He drove a modest black SUV and always wore clean, well-ironed shirts. At church, Daniel led the men's fellowship. In the estate, he was the chairman of the Residents Association. Everyone respected him. Hannah adored him. Her colleagues at school called her lucky. Her students even knew Mr. Cole because he often dropped snacks for the class and once donated exercise books to the entire primary section. But behind that soft voice and perfect smile, Daniel was something else. He was a man haunted by a past he buried so well, not even his wife knew it existed. A past that came back, wearing a familiar face. A lot had happened that even his wife didn't know about, until the night it all came crashing down. It was on a rainy Thursday evening in November. Hannah had stayed back in school for a staff meeting. The rain was loud, angry. Thunder cracked like a whip. Daniel was supposed to pick her up, but she told him not to bother because she was going to take a boat. She came back tired and shivering, holding her laptop bag above her head to shield herself from the rain. When she entered the house around 6:45 p.m., the lights were off. She thought the power was out. But no, the generator wasn't on either. "Daniel," she called. No answer. She removed her wet shoes by the door and stepped inside, confused. The house smelled strange, like rust and something sour. No smell of food, no sound of the TV, no light. Then she saw him, Daniel, sitting on the couch, in the dark, motionless. His eyes were open, staring into nothing. In front of him was a large black nylon bag. Something was dripping from it. Slowly, rhythmically, she squinted. Her heart began to race. Blood. She screamed so loudly a glass cup on the dining table vibrated. He didn't flinch. "Daniel, what is this? Jesus, what is this?" He turned slowly and looked at her, calmly. "It's Michael," he said. "Michael what? What are you talking about?" "Michael Edmond, my friend." He stood up slowly, his shirt soaked with blood. His hands were trembling, but his face was blank. He came to destroy everything. I had to stop him. She ran out screaming. The neighbors heard her cries. The security man ran to the house. Within minutes, there was a crowd outside, and by the time the police arrived, Daniel was waiting by the gate with his hands raised. Michael Edmond was not just a friend. He was Daniel's best friend. They grew up in Eastboro, went to school together, and even did their first apprenticeship under the same electronics trader. Michael had gone abroad in 2011 and returned in 2022. Everyone thought he came back to invest. He was seen around Daniel a lot. What people didn't know was that he wasn't staying in a hotel. He was living inside Daniel's house. Neighbors noticed the tension. They said they hardly saw Hannah outside anymore. Her smile had vanished. There was one night someone said they heard shouting and something breaking. They were arguing like madmen, the next-door neighbor, Mrs. Fisher, later told reporters. But the next morning, Daniel greeted everyone like nothing happened. Nobody knew what was going on until the police opened that nylon bag. Inside was Michael. His body had been cut with a hacksaw, packed like refuse, folded into himself. Neck bent, blood soaked everything. It didn't look human anymore. At the police station, Daniel didn't speak. For 3 days, the detectives tried everything. He kept staring at the wall. Then he asked to see a lawyer. When his lawyer came, Daniel placed a flash drive on the table and said, "Play that." On the drive were folders labeled proof, threats, voice notes, transfer slips. The drive contained over 40 audio recordings of Michael threatening Daniel. Videos of the two of them in different places, bars, rooftops, warehouses. There were screenshots of chats where Michael demanded millions in exchange for silence. Silence about what? A crime they had committed in 2008. They were part of a kidnapping gang. Their last job went bad. A 9-year-old girl died. Her body was never found. Michael had buried it in an unmarked spot and took pictures. Daniel thought it was over. But Michael had kept everything. When he came back broke, he started blackmailing Daniel. It started with phone calls, then texts. Then Michael showed up at Daniel's office. "Pay me $20 million, or I go to the police. Or worse, your wife." Daniel paid him $8 million, but it didn't stop. Michael moved into his house. He drank his wine, watched TV on his couch. Daniel begged him to leave. Michael laughed. "You think you can silence me? I made you. I can end you." The night before the murder, Hannah and Daniel had an argument. She asked, "Why is Michael still here? He makes me uncomfortable." Daniel didn't answer. He couldn't. The next day, he came back from work to find Michael in the bedroom, holding Hannah's underwear, sniffing it, laughing. "You think you have it all, huh? This fine woman? This peaceful life? I can take everything away. I already took that girl in 2008. Remember? Now I'll take your wife too." Daniel said he didn't feel himself again. Something in his head snapped. He picked up the iron beside the bed and struck him. Again, and again, and again. Blood everywhere. Michael fell, but Daniel didn't stop. When he finally dropped the iron, it was quiet. Too quiet. He dragged the body into the sitting room, got a hacksaw from the store, did the unthinkable. He didn't eat, didn't sleep, just sat there, waiting. The trial shook the whole city. Some said he was a hero who rid the world of evil. Others called him a calculated killer. The court gallery was packed every hearing. Hannah fainted during the third session. For weeks, people debated it everywhere. Radio, church, newspapers. Journalists dug into Daniel's past. They found nothing, not even a traffic ticket. But Michael, he had a record overseas. Fraud, assault, 2 short jail terms. Daniel only spoke once. 12 minutes. He said, "Yes, I killed him. Yes, I planned it. No, I'm not sorry. Because sometimes evil has to be stopped." He thought he owned me. He thought my life was his toy. I took it back. After 9 months, the verdict came. Guilty. Death by hanging. And that was when Daniel smiled. A deep, knowing, peaceful smile. Some called it madness. Some called it acceptance. Clara, who sat there that day, said she saw something else. Peace. Because maybe Daniel had already died the day he made that first mistake in 2008. And this was just the burial. A week after sentencing, Hannah received a letter from Marigold Maximum Prison. It read, "Hannah, I'm sorry I failed you. I wanted a better life for us. But I was already carrying too many bodies. Please raise our daughter well. Tell her father was a fool who loved too deeply and chose too wrongly. One day, when you stand at my grave, don't cry. Just smile back. Daniel." She read it 5 times. Then she smiled, not because she forgave him, but because finally it was over. Now tell me honestly, if you were in Daniel's shoes, what would you have done differently?